Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could please remain standing for a moment of silence or prayer. Thank you. We'll start with announcements or correspondences. Do we have any announcements or correspondences from the department heads or the board this morning?
No.
Okay.
Joe, there's a big echo.
Next, we'll move into public comment. Holly, do we have anybody signed up today to speak? All right, nobody signed up. John, do you need anything approved today?
I do, but we're on the agenda.
Okay, I didn't know if you had meeting minutes that needed.
Oh, we do. 4-6, actually, or 416. That's me, Sue. I didn't know if she was reading them or not.
Let's see here, 416. I think those are the ones we have to table, John, until next meeting, because I wasn't here and Mike's not here.
That's right, you weren't there. Yep.
All right, so we'll hold those. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we'll move into our meeting portion, and we'll start with the police department. I'm going to turn this over to Chief.
Thank you, Nick. This morning I'm requesting board approval to hire Ms. Jessica Matthews for the position of full-time police officer for the Brimfield Township Police Department. She has successfully completed all phases of the hiring and background process.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the hire of Jessica Matthews as full-time police officer.
Second.
All right, discussion, all background, everything's been completed?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All in favor? Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right.
And we want to go ahead and take care of that.
Yep, we can go ahead and move into the swearing-in ceremony. All right, so I'm going to give the oath of office and ask you to raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Jessica Matthews,
Having been duly appointed as a police officer of the Brimfield Township,
having been duly appointed as a police officer of the Brimfield Township,
Ohio Police Department,
Ohio Police Department,
do solemnly swear that I shall
do solemnly swear that I shall
support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the rules and regulations of Brimfield Township, Ohio Police Department,
and the rules and regulations of the Brimfield Township, Ohio Police Department,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me
discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me
as a police officer of the Brimfield Township, Ohio Police Department.
as a police officer of the Brimfield, Ohio Police Department.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Welcome to the city.
Before we take a couple of pictures, I just want to say a couple of words. First of all, thank you to all the members of our safety force who came out this morning for
What is today?
Jessica swearing in. Really looking forward to bringing Jessica on our department, serving
We
our
had
community.
paid last week.
Jessica's had a lot of changes in her life recently. She's a recent
We had paid
graduate
this
from
week
State University and is now transitioning
So
to our
she's gonna
department from
be-
another area of police department. So she has a lot of exciting things going on in her life right now, and we are really excited to bring her on board. So thank you everybody.
So if
for
we
coming
got
out
paid
and coming as well.
here.
And we're gonna go ahead now and take some photos. So let's do that.
She needs to be effective back. That's the first day of the next paper.
All right, wherever you're ready, we'll pose the next now.
Oh, I don't want to be in there.
She's all excited.
Do you have a picture?
She wants to be in there.
You want me in there or out? It's up to you. All right. This is your gig.
I'm gonna move.
They'll be around. You just hide.
This thing's high enough now.
Yeah, you can hide behind it.
My jacket off of here.
Got it. Yeah. And even got it dancing.
Hey, Roy, what day did you have for the 11th?
Tentative, 99% tennis. Right now, I would say TBD, but
Okay. Because that's the next, beginning of the next cycle. Okay.
Thank you so much. Hey, congratulations. Welcome to having to the team. We're excited to have you. Awesome. Don't call me at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. We'll continue on with our special meeting this morning. We'll move into the next section, which is going to be the road department. I'm going to turn this over to Dave. I guess you got a couple pieces here, sir.
Okay, the first one we have today, oh, thanks, Nick. Approval to hire Todd Johnson to a part-time seasonal laborer's position in the road department contingent of the background check and substance test.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve Todd Johnson as part-time seasonal laborer, contingent upon background check and substance abuse test.
Second.
All in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Dave, this is going to bring us up to full staff for this summer then?
Yes. Yeah,
Congratulations.
it'll give us up to 5 full-time and 2 part-times, which now I can kind of push more, help a little bit more with the posts.
Yeah. No, this is perfect timing for it, so awesome. Good job.
Do you have a start date for him?
The 13th.
Or can we do the 11th, which would be Sunday at the beginning? of
Well,
the
yeah,
second?
you could do, I
Okay.
mean, but his first day coming in
Okay.
for us will be the 13th.
So if we can read
So you need me to amend that motion to the 11th?
May 11th will be his.
So I'll make a motion to amend the motion to include a start date of May 11th, 2025. I need a second. Sue, I need a second.
Second.
All in favor, Sue? Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Yes.
Thanks.
Alrighty, and then, the next thing I need board approval for is, because I got a couple different little things, the Portage County Engineers Office to prepare a bid book for the 2025 paving project.
All right. I'll make a motion for the 2025 paving project bid book.
Second.
All in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, and then I need a motion for advertisement dates for the paving project for 5/9 and 5/16.
I'll make a motion for the advertisements not dates of 5/9 and 5/16 for the 2025 paving project.
Second.
All in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
And the bid opening date of 5/28/25 at a 7:45 a.m. before the scheduled trustee meeting.
I'll make a motion for bid opening to be on 5/28/2025 at 7:45 a.m.
Second.
All in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Dave, can you provide a list of roads that are in that
Uh,
paving project at this time?
Yes, I can. Actually, it's a very short list. It's a very big project. It's gonna be Shermanwood Drive and Chestnut Drive. Chestnut Drive is where we're pretty much gonna have to rebuild the whole road, put new drainage pipes in. We're eliminating grass cul-de-sac and making it a full cul-de-sac. Shermanwood Drive, we are going to replace an abundancy of bad concrete pads through there up to the point that we can, what it allows us to take care of there. So, the reason we're doing these two roads is, one of the main reasons is it is starting to cause trouble with my plow trucks. It's it's chattering and beating and banging them and stuff like that, so. And the Chestnut Road it is actually just falling apart on us. So we need to completely rebuild that.
Was there any grant funding for either of these projects?
No.
Okay. All right, any questions for road department? All right, if hearing none, thank you, Dave. We'll move into fiscal office. John?
What we have here, as we've discussed in the past with the building project for the fire admin building, it was a 2.5 year or so scheduled project, which ended up almost being 5 years because of COVID and other issues that were out there. So what's happened is our 8.1 estimated balance or estimated project value has gone to about 8.9, but it could come down from the 8.9. What I'm asking for today is I have a loan secured, just need to have it approved through Huntington for $800,000 to cover the overages of the fire admin building project. What I want to do with that, and hopefully we're going to get that number down. There are still some items that are being negotiated. The worst case is it's going to be 800,000. It's probably going to be, Holly, if you would think, probably in the $500,000, $600,000 range.
Yeah, we hired, as you guys know, we hired QCI as our owner's rep to help us with many things, and one of them is here at the end of this project negotiating and going through all of the outstanding change orders. So QCI helped us put together some projections. Best case scenario, we might be around 430,000, and as John said, worst case scenario, 800. It's again not likely that we'll be at 800, but based on the need to start paying some of these remaining bills out, we wanted to go ahead with the larger number just so that we don't have to go back again. Again, we're going to negotiate. That can take some time, but there's as you can see, quite a big of a variance, whether it's 430 or 800,000.
Well, and what we want to do, if it's even, I still want to take it for 800,000 because the general fund along the way got hit for a lot of extra costs that we didn't expect. Actually, QCI was one that we weren't expecting to have. There were a couple other negotiated issues in the middle of the year that we had to take care of to finalize some the status of the contract. So the general fund's been taking a beating. So I would like to have that. We can pay it back, and then, but we're just kind of low in the general fund because of all those expenditures that we had to make in 24 for the additional things in the township. So my plan on having it all paid back too, it's going to be through the general fund and the fire department. It'll be based on the amount of overages based on each department. So there's a list of where the items are on that 800,000, where they're coming from. So we're going to divide that fairly and equally between the two funds to make sure that it's being paid appropriately. So that's our goal. So I need a motion today to approve that loan, and then I can get all the paperwork started and we can be done with this.
And I want to add just a minute here just to explain of why there's such a variance in what we potentially will owe. There's still a number of change orders out there that are being reviewed on, were they included in the project? Should we really be paying them? There's also liquidated damages out there. So any of the delays that were not caused by the township, there's reduction in costs that we'll get. So there's just a number of items out there. Another good one is just errors and omissions. So there were a number of things that we had to add to the project. And if that was at the fault of either the architect or the construction company, we can get reduction in that form as well. So that's why that number is high, but the potential of paying some around 450, because there's a lot to negotiate and go through and say, no, this is not what we're paying. It was already in the project, or you guys missed this. There should be an offset of the cost. So that process will take a while, but we've already begun that.
And that's been the biggest delay in the what if on these scenarios, is how much are we going to be able to negotiate them down? We feel pretty good with one of them from the architect's perspective, but we'll see. So
All right, so I'd like, just so we can have a discussion on the floor officially, I'd like to make a motion to approve a $800,000 loan from Huntington Bank for the estimated remaining construction cost.
I would second that, and in discussion, I've given, I've given this some thought. And in discussion on this, I would be agreeable for taking out the loan. And I think today, that would be the only thing that we would vote on, was the fact that we take out the loan. The other issue is what if we don't need all that money to close out everything? The money that's left over, that's another motion and another discussion, and I would like to have that discussion when Mr. Kostinsky is back for his input.
So, I guess, and I agree with some of that, Sue. First, I just want to go through some of the basics of this to make sure I have a complete understanding of what was presented this morning. So, terms and conditions, interest rate on this loan is 4.7%.
yeah, there's an amortization schedule in the back there. I think if we
And there was a couple
different
options, but it looks
yeah.
like we're going with the 20-year.
Yeah, I wanted to go
repayment.
with the middle one. Yep.
So the 20 years, they offered us a 10-year, a 15-year, and a 20-year, it looks like.
Mhm.
So we're going with the 20-year repayment plan?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any early termination fees or penalties to this loan if we were to pay the money back sooner?
There would be on the remaining balance a percentage of the interest. If I went back to Huntington the other day and asked to have that set up, and if they did, they were gonna have to change the interest rate if we paid it off early. So it's only on the remaining balance that's out there, the estimated interest that we would have to pay forward. So in that way, we just probably just leave it out there.
What was the interest rate if
About
we were to
another
do that?
0.5%,
So it would have been up to 5.2?
just to have it out there. And I don't know what that total runs out to be on the whole total of the project there, but it was just one of those things. But I did ask them about it, and there was
And
a
that's
separate charge.
What, 1.1 for the interest?
It was about 0.5% added on.
So we went from 4.7 to 5.2.
Mhm.
Has the township exhausted the additional funding set aside for the project overruns that was held from the fire department budget? So have we exhausted the 360,000? I don't remember the exact number.
The majority of it, just because we had a $270,000 settlement that we had to do a year and a half ago or so, and now we have the 800,000. So, yeah, it's going to be exhausted, and then there's going to probably be a little bit left from there, and it's going to be probably about the same amount from the general fund that we're going to have to come up with as our portion of it. But I mean, there's really nothing we could have done in this project in regards to saving any. I mean, the time and the COVID, and that's how it worked out. But yeah, there are that money has pretty much been exhausted, or it will be when we finalize all this.
Okay. Based on the financial documents maintained by the fiscal office for the construction project, do we have a sheet that shows the cost overruns and where they occurred? What was admin, what was fire, what was general project, so that we can have a better understanding of what that payment plan is going to look like?
We will be able to get that, because if it's all based on the negotiating of all the remaining $800,000 and where they come from. So we'll be able to break that down, but right now it's in a general dollar amount. I mean, I know there was it's at 180,000, Holly, with Moody Nolan. Was that what that one was? That's a combination of fire and admin, additional architectural expenditures, but we're hoping to get that whole thing written off. So
Right.
if we don't get it written off, then we have to go back and figure out what percentage of that belongs to who and where. So-
Well, but I also what I want to make sure is that when we do this cost, we look at the total project, right? So if fire cut some things or had some credits, those are accounted into
Oh, yeah,
that too.
it's gonna be fairly
so that
broken
we-
down between the two, and I'm not gonna do it without bringing it to you guys to see it, so.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure it's set up the right way. I don't wanna short the general fund by paying expenditures from the fire and vice versa, so.
I know that this is a piece that we need to do that's time sensitive, and I'm not opposed to taking the initial loan. I do have concerns, though, using the loan dollars to pay other administrative costs and general fund pieces. Is it possible that this loan can be set into its own line item, and then that line item can be exclusively used at this time just for the construction project costs only, these overages, and then and then at the end of that, we can either pay back what is remaining to reduce that debt that we owe, or relook at that. My opinion would be to repay back that money. If we're short on cash and admin, then we just tighten our shoestrings and we start looking at some other pieces. I just don't want to take a loan and then start paying other things out of that until this is settled, and then we pay that money back if we possibly can.
No, what answers, there's a couple different answers to that. The yes is that we will be able to, let's say it ends up at $800,000, so we'll just use that. If 300,000 was from fire and 500,000 was from admin, there'll be a payback out of each account that equals that, or equal amount each month that goes towards the payment. So that'll be fairly brought out, and it'll come out of 2191 or 2281 or 1,000 general fund. So you'll be able to see where the monies are coming out from that. At the end, I mean, the reason that we're short in the general fund right now is because of some of the project dollars that we had to pay that we didn't expect coming up. QCI, I mean, we paid lots of money to QCI just to watch the project after the fact. And a lot of that'll probably be on the general fund because we didn't have them until after the fire department was almost completed. So, but that's a big chunk of money that we weren't expecting to spend. So when I do the budget at the beginning of the year, we look at all the other things, payroll and expenses that we're gonna take care of, and then we have an amount that's left over. That amount's just been getting beaten down. So I would be happy if we had it just for a year, just to make sure we're not trying to delay a payment to somebody just because we don't have any money and we're waiting for a draw. That would just make it a little easier. But that amount would be broken down to come out of the general fund side. It wouldn't be Craig's, I mean, it would, or fire departments. But that's how I break it down.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Whenever.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I heard, John just said fire department and admin, which I know we shared in the cost, but in June of last year, I remember we settled Phase A at a cost, and Phase A was us. So at that point, remember, we settled and we started fresh from then. So at that, I think I remember that was like 120,000. So
I think it was 270 if I remember correctly.
270?
Yeah. I think that's what,
I
I'll
don't remember
double
that.
check.
But anyways, the document's out there, but I thought we did that on purpose so we could say, hey, let's not get too confused. Let's settle this. Phase A's done. Move into Phase B.
We had to settle that to get started again on the late days that they were behind on. That's
Right,
where
but we should have
settled
a
that.
number up until then, is
Right.
I guess my comment.
So what we're gonna look at is that
Where I got
amount.
jumped off.
Right, that amount and where that was incurred from, and then any other expenditures, they're all coming up to that. But Craig, out of that money that was out there, some of
Yeah.
that might have been Moody Nolan's money.
Right.
And if you remember correctly, Rycon, we had, we kind of beat them down on their cost, but we didn't do anything with Moody Nolan. So it's time for us to now go after the amount that Moody Nolan owes us. So if that wipes it away, it'll wipe away a portion of your bill and the general funds bill. We'll set down. What I can tell you is that when it gets done, they're gonna be fairly broken down between both departments based off the services that we
I'm not
use.
disagreeing with that. I just want us to remember we did that on purpose to say, hey, let's not get any more confused. Let's settle
Oh, sure.
Phase A before we go into B. And we had a number already that we had stopped at.
Yeah, but right now, we're still even incurring QCI charges because of the punch list items that are still out there, and I mean, we're still
Well, that was my
incurring.
next comment.
Yeah.
Why would we pay anything when they haven't completed the project?
That's what's being thought about right now.
I mean, I'll just put it on record, there's downspouts, garage doors, concrete spalling, cracks, HVAC problems, heater problems.
Mhm.
They haven't completed the project, so
Of course, and that's what
why would we pay them anything more?
that's what this whole thing's about. I mean, there's dollars out there that, because some of those things they're looking to see, hey, should this been included in the original plans, or was this added on extra? Some of the things that Moody Nolan said is that, hey, you're asking for this additional purchase or a change order, but that should have been included in the original document, so
Right.
you're not allowed to ask for that.
Right, you keep saying, not you,
Right.
we keep saying, oh, there's additional punch list stuff, well, come finish.
Right.
We've asked you to finish a year ago.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, Holly, you talked to.
That shouldn't be incurred on.
Yeah,
us.
so the couple things, there's a contingency that we're holding for just this conversation. The money that we owe are to the contractors that have done work. So there's two things there, in that there are bills that have come from the project that there are outstanding items that we have to pay the contractors for, and then this contingency that's set aside that we're not going to pay until, I'll give an example, Rycon, we're not going to pay any final cost directly to Rycon. That's what that contingency is there for.
Makes sense.
Yeah, yep.
I'm just
So-
saying, don't tell me you're gonna bill us another bill when you should have, the door's open every day.
Right.
Come do it.
Yeah,
Come
these,
finish.
the money that we're looking to pay are for contractors and change orders that are outstanding and haven't been paid yet. But that contingency will stay there until everything's complete and that final payment will be issued.
But
I agree with
that's, when we get done with all of that, that's where we're gonna be able to tell how much is left over from each side, and then we're gonna have to go down the list and say, all right, Craig, this was your portion of it, so we'll come
I
up with a
understand
number
that.
between both of them.
I understand that, but they're dragging their feet. They bring a guy in to touch up a paint.
They've been
chip or
dragging their
two.
feet for
But
5 years.
You've been back to my garage doors, and we just had it at the senior luncheon, didn't work
wouldn't
again.
I know.
I mean, we've called them, I'm not exaggerating, 20 times since last January for garage doors.
Well, Holly, that's where QCI is beating them down as well because we just got, who was, is it Paul from Rycon? Who just sent the notice the other day about the final punch list?
Pete.
Pete. That was kind of answering a lot of QCI questions and all that, but I agree with you just as much.
I know you agree with me. 'cause
We've
we're on
watched
the
it
same
for
page.
days over here, past years, that it was nice for a week and nobody was here. Yet they're,
Right.
then they're gonna charge us for extra overages because it took too long.
You should not charge us at all because you haven't come back. I'll shut up now.
No, but that's all being
All right.
brought into the conversation
Thank
right
you.
now. But we are gonna be at a spot where we're gonna owe $800,000 or less. That number just hasn't been decided yet. So we were wanting to just get it all done. Huntington was able to do with an 800,000. What we do with it afterwards, I mean, if it was only 450,000, if we pay that back, or if we take 50,000 of it and put it, whatever we do can be decided later. I mean,
I guess my next question is, I did some quick math here. We take a 20-year loan at 4.7% versus just doing the 10-year loan at 4.52. If we did the 10-year, we're saving $230,000 to the taxpayers and only incurring an additional $37,000 per year divided by two departments potentially, not 50-50 obviously, but for $37,000 a year, we're saving the taxpayers $230,000. That's a lot of money. Why are we not going that route? It's not like it's a $500,000 difference in payments.
oh, I know, but it's what was the difference? I don't have it in front of me between it. I was picking that because of the dollar of the payment is a,
So the
it's a
payment
stress
on a
payment.
on the payment on a 10-year is $99,000 a year. Payment on a 20-year is $61,000, so about a $37,000 difference would change. The difference, though, is the amount of interest we're going to pay to Huntington. We have $233,000 savings that we could do if we took this as a 10-year.
The only problem I have right now with the 10 is coming up with $100,000 from each. I mean, when I tell you that we're short in the general fund, I mean, we're right on the cusp. I don't know where I come up with another $100,000 out there to make a loan payment to somebody. I mean, that's the issue. So I was taking a one that was a lesser payment that we could afford to pay. I didn't want to get in there and be late on a payment because we can't make it. But you guys can choose whatever one you want. I mean, if you want to take the 10-year, that's fine. It just causes a bigger strain on us to make the payments. And the payments are right now. That's the issue why I was wanting the rest of that money or some of that money to be in the general fund. In a year or two, we're going to be fine again. It's just we had to pay a bunch of money to QCI. We had to pay that $270. I mean, there was a lot of extra dollars that we did not expect to come out of the general fund, so it kind of beat us up. So I was wanting that extra money to kind of get us back to equal again so we could catch up, is what I was trying to do.
But that extra money may not exist because we may owe $800,000.
Right. Right, but that's why I put it out there. If there's any left over, that's what I wanted to talk about. So,
I hate seeing us spending another $230,000 in interest on this construction project, right? Where we could save that money. With the JED dollars, those are supposed to be increasing. Is that a piece where we're paying some additional stuff out of the JED, so then the general fund can pick up the extra 37,000?
well, that's where Craig's money would be helped, because he's getting the 30% chunk of all the JED revenues that are out there. So as his keep going up, that'll make it easier for Craig to pay that portion from the fire department. The M&I money, I actually slowed that down a little bit because we beat that up the last couple of years with buying extra things, and actually reduced the police in regards to buying, getting rid of one of the cars and pushing it off a little bit, because we need to get that rebuilt back up again. But the M&I, that's where you could take some of that money out of the M&I. But that would help Craig's portion. The 30%, if the JED went up a bunch, Craig's money to pay his portion back would be easier because he got a bigger chunk.
So I guess my question, though, is can we financially get to the point that we do this as a 10-year instead of the 20-year to save $230,000? In your opinion, as the fiscal?
Right now, I don't think so, but let me look at it again. I mean, I would say no right now. I would say, I mean, and I don't know how much I'm gonna have to pay either. I mean, it's.
Well, I mean, assuming we're paying $100,000,
Right.
right? Can we pay $100,000 or can we pay $62,000, trying to save that $37,000? Simply is what I'm trying to get. It's not about the payment. It's more about tacking on another $200,000.
No,
so essentially, we get to $1.2 million after interest, or we're at $990,000 before interest.
Well, if you think about prior discussions that we've had in regards to other things that are going on, I mean, I put a very specific budget out there for Brimfest that we couldn't go over this number because I don't have enough money to pay any of that, which we changed the way Brimfest was gonna be, and we didn't do this and do that. The reason I couldn't give that extra money is because we're right on the cusp of that. So adding another $67,000 or what was it, 37?
37
Yeah.
beyond the 60.
Yeah,
we have to pay.
I mean, I cut the Brimfest money. So there are things in any budgets. I mean, we'll just use Dave as an example with the road department. If we started running low on it, we just tell Dave, sorry, we're not doing this road project, and we're gonna put it off till next year and save that dollars because he doesn't have it. My expenses aren't that easy in the general fund. I have a lot of payroll. I have a lot of the maintenance building, or a lot of the charges for, daily stuff at the township, cell phones, those kinds of, I mean, there's a lot of expenditures that come out of the general fund. And in the last 5 years, we've added four more new people to the admin department, which is additional salaries, but they're all needed. If you wanted me to answer it right now today, I would say please take the 15-year one,
The 15, well,
or the 20-year.
20-year one.
Yeah. Or maybe we go to the 15 one. What's the difference between that, since you have it in front of you?
Yeah, give me one second.
While you're doing the math, I just gotta chime in there. I was not prepared for hundreds of thousands out of my budget, so please don't take it from me right now.
Well, neither were we.
I mean, extra 100, I don't have it, so I was prepared to get a fire truck and an ambulance and more personnel, and I have negotiations coming up.
Well, that's
Not
an
prepared for
issue,
this.
Craig, that's a Brimfield Township issue. I mean, we're all in this thing together. I mean, we have the same expenditure issues in the general fund or the police department. I mean, we had to change some of the things in the police department because of M&I funding, which changed Roy's budget around a little bit. We didn't expect any of this extra money to come around, but it's here. So we gotta do something with it.
So for an additional $12,000 a year, we can save $121,000 in taxpayer money. So it takes you up to 73. I mean, I don't feel comfortable with the 20-year loan. I'd feel more comfortable if we could get into that, at
Can
least
you
the
do
15. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happier with the 10, but if you're telling me that it's not there from the
10's
fiscal,
gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard.
if we can get into that 15, I think that's a better option for us. Because I'm not trying to add more onto the taxpayers. Right?
No, I get it.
I mean, that's $120,000. That's one of our employees for
Sure.
a year, right?
Right. Well, and I get that with the taxpayer money and all that stuff. I mean, we provided a great building here and we had a budget for it, but it just.
Well, it was
for all
COVID.
100%
There's 100 reasons why
yeah.
the price went up. I mean,
Yeah.
we bid this before COVID. COVID came and it
It was the
drastically
worst
changed.
time ever that we could have started a building project, but we
But you
didn't
didn't know that when you
Right.
start the project.
So
So
we're
I would be
trying
good
to
if we
do
could
our
make
due-
it 15-year, change the 15-year. But the other sticking point for me right now is that I really want that put into a line item, and it is only used for the things that are outlined on that spreadsheet that was sent by Holly of the overages for now. If we want to look at it later, we can relook at it, but I'd like to make the motion very clear that that's what we're using it for. And it can only be used for those things.
With no extra dollars going into the general fund?
Correct.
Okay, well, that still puts me in the same issue that I'm in. I mean, I'm looking for that to balance out our general fund for a period of time.
How much do you need to balance out the general fund?
If I had another $100,000, it would make us
My goal is to get
comfortable.
this where if we settle for $400,000, we're giving $400,000 back to the bank. Like I know we got to pay the fee.
But if we settle for 4, I would want to give them $300,000 and take $100,000 and put it into the general fund. Just that would help a lot of issues in the general fund area.
What is your plan of action if we don't settle for, we lose the whole thing and we got to pay the whole 800?
Well, we're gonna have to, we have that payment, there's no money going into the general fund, we're just gonna, I don't know, does that mean we cut this service, we cut that comes back to the board,
Okay.
where I could say, hey, these are the 5 things that we have, pick 4 of them, but you can only pick 4,
Okay.
and then there's that hard decision where we need to get rid of something, and that's where it would come down to at that point.
And just to note, there's about 200,000 when we look at this, 100,000 in change orders that was denied, 71,000 in liquidated damages. Back to the point of the likelihood of paying 800 is not, we could take 170 off right there, but this is where some of this stuff could end up in a mediation.
Yeah, and I'm just always looking at worst case. I want to
Absolutely,
make sure that
yeah.
we explore worst case scenarios so that we make a decision.
Well, and
based
that's
on
why we did the 800, that's the worst case.
Yeah, liquidated damages are at a point where they've been, I'll say, just about agreed on. They'll come before the board. That's going to take 71,000 off right there. If I had to guess, that's a known that 71,000 in liquidated damages will come off. The rest is all pending.
Okay. So, John, if we could, I'd like to make a motion to amend I'd like to make an amended motion.
Okay.
So move to obtain a loan from Huntington Bank in the amount of $800,000 to cover the cost overages incurred by the township during the construction of the fire station expansion and administration expansion and remodel project. The loan shall be placed into a separate line item that shall only be used for construction project expenses related to payment 38, PCO charges outstanding and under review as of this date, PCO denied claims, Moody Nolan outstanding balances, and QCI payments. $100,000 could be used in the general fund to balance the budget. If a settlement agreement is reached, remaining funds in this line item are to be repaid to Huntington Bank upon the settlement. Repayment of the loan will be covered under general fund and fire department based on disbursement of project costs. And I can send this all to you.
Yeah, send that because that was a lot.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. That's fine. And just so you know how the UAN system works out there, we are going to break it down that way. It'll be in one item for it to go out to, but the funding of it's going to come from 2 different funds. One will come from a fire fund and one will come from a general fund.
For repayment?
Well, for the repayment of the loan or
Yeah, that's
that.
fine. I just want it in its own line item
Yeah.
so then I can call Kirsten and say, show me what was paid out of this line item so that we can see that.
Just make it easy. And if it was 800,000 and 300,000 was fire and 5 was general fund, the payment's going to be broken down in that percentage, and you'll
Right.
see it in the payments coming from each department going to make that loan payment. It'll be in that percentage amount. So
Okay.
it'll be fair for both of them. I don't want to stick either one of them because it causes financial issues for each side, one way or the other.
Craig, would you be,
Well, I have one question.
okay, yeah, that's why I did it.
it just-
Oh, wait, 1 second. There's an amended motion. Sue, can I get a second for that amended motion?
Second.
Okay, now you can talk. Sorry.
John, this is more of a question for you. Did I understand that right, that the 345,000 I originally gave already is still out there from mine?
Well, there's a portion of it that's been used, but
Did you say the majority?
but it's going to be gone with the end finally of this when we get done with this.
So does that play into my portion? Or do
Yeah.
you not?
Sure, because your money's sitting out there right now in a general, or
345
an
already.
account. Yeah, we'll show that, yeah, Craig paid X amount of dollars into this. That'll be all part of the calculation.
So just to
that comes
play
back.
this in my mind, if my half payment came back at 300,000, then I've already paid.
Well, think of it, if it came back at 500,000 and we used your 300 and something that was out there, now you got 100 and some thousand that we're paying back your percentage of that to the loan.
So this is a sticking point. I just want to make sure we're very clear on this. So let's say that total overages were 600,000.
Okay?
All right, and when we look at it, 50% was police, 50% was fire, so both owe $300,000.
Roy owes now, huh?
Right, or not police, sorry, admin and fire. Thinking police this morning. Admin and fire both owe $300,000.
Right.
Because fire's already kicked in their 345, they're getting $45,000 back to their account, and admin is picking up the entire loan payment at that point.
If it worked out that way.
If it, yeah, I just want to make sure we're very clear that that number gets tied into that
It
equation.
definitely will.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, because you got to think, that 270 that we paid before was not included in this $800,000.
Right, and
So,
that's,
I mean,
yeah, but there was
and
also credits that existed out there, so.
But a chunk of that money was paid out of the fire department.
And really, there's three buckets. There's admin, there's fire, and then there's general project cost. And general project cost then has to be divided out equally.
Right. But we just don't know the percentage based off of what, I mean, we still need that from QCI and.
Yeah, and
final
so QCI is
negotiation
working
stuff.
those final
Yeah.
numbers. Thank you.
John, that's just always confused me, that number. So I just wanted.
Well, we had to do it that way to get the loan started, and
I
that's where we
remember
did
that.
it from.
I just didn't know how it ever came back, if it ever did, or how that worked.
Well, if we would have matched the, the amount that was out there, the 8.1, you would have been getting, some of that money would have been coming back to you in a refund.
Yes.
But it didn't. So your refund portion is probably not going to happen. But it'll be broken down. You'll all be able to see it, and it'll all make sense to all of you, and it's going to be done on a fair, and reasonable
I
setup.
understand that. I never understood that upfront, 345.
That was to cover overages that were out there, the
Which is where
unseen.
we're at now.
Right. Well,
So-
but we had one in the
so
middle of
I
the
mean-
project. Well, 3.5 years ago. That's where we had to balance out and it got negotiated down from 7 something to 270. That's what we had to pay to finalize that. And we did get Rycon to, they dumped like $500,000 in costs that they had to get back up. But that's where the majority of that money came from, Craig, was your money that was sitting out there for the overages. So.
I just, on a lighthearted note, can they please finish and leave? I'm so tired of Rikon.
Well, and I
Nice
mean,
people, but
I know Holly's
it's been going on way too long.
Holly's been beating down on them I
I know
watch
she
the
has.
notes on
I
a
know.
daily basis there, but she, I know Rycon or QCI they understand our stress and time and all that stuff, and I think they're doing their best. Holly, I hope you would agree that they're doing their best to get this project finished as fast as they can.
And we had in there 15-year loan, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, make sure that's in there.
You're writing it up to me, right?
Yeah, I gotta, I'll resend
15
it.
years instead of 20 years?
Yeah, changing it to 15. Correct.
Okay, good discussion.
All right, is there any other discussions from the board or department heads, questions at this point? So, essentially the way I'm understanding it, it's just gonna be locked in there. We're not gonna use it for any other things until the settlement is done.
Mhm.
At that point, we're gonna repay what we can repay back to the bank. But 100,000 would be eligible for the general fund.
And that would, we're just taking a little extra to help us out, and that would definitely help us out.
Okay. Knowing that 100,000 is going to be
It would be the general funds portion
general
to pay.
portion to repay back.
Yep.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah, but it's, we got beat up the last couple of years with a lot of those extra costs for this building. And extra QCI type people. There was just a lot of extra costs that we couldn't do anything about it. We're in the middle of a project. We had to do something. So that was it.
Okay.
Well,
You're gonna
thank you
send
for-
that one too, and,
Thank
Yep,
you
I
for
just-
a
it's the
very
second
good
one I said.
discussion.
okay.
Yeah, good discussion there.
I will put that in the book there, but I just need approval right now for that, so.
Yes, we have the motion on the floor.
All in
The
favor?
amended motion.
Yep, all in favor of the amended motion, that is what Nick is emailing me, and I will insert into the minutes.
I'll just read it again just for the record.
Okay.
I move to obtain, I move to attain a 15-year loan from Huntington Bank in the amount of $800,000 to cover the cost of overages incurred by the township during the construction of the fire station expansion and administration expansion and remodel project. The loan shall be placed into a separate line item that shall only be used for construction project expenses related to payment 38, PCO charges outstanding, and under review as of this date, PCO denied claims, Moody Nolan outstanding balances, and QCI payments. $100,000,
If available.
if available, will be used in the general fund to cover overages. If a settlement agreement is reached, the remaining funds in this line item are to be repaid to Huntington Bank upon the settlement. Repayment of the loan will be covered under the general fund and fire department based on disbursement of project costs.
Exactly. Perfect. All in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you. I will get all that, get that all sent over to Huntington, get it started, so.
Thank you for that clarifying discussion that we've had. I think we've worked that out well.
Well, this is just an end of a very, very good thing that happened for Brimfield, but a very, very long, tedious, I'll say it for everybody that's out there. I mean, Craig and Holly, not to mention Sue and Nick, but Craig and Holly have been getting beat up for 5 years on this whole project thing, and fighting with tardiness and fighting with, things not being completed, to the standards that we expected. So both of you guys have done a very good job of not jumping off the bridge, because there was a lot of times out there where it was really, really rough.
I'm there.
Really
Yeah,
rough.
so thank you guys for doing what you do.
It's where I got all my gray hair.
That's where I got my red hair.
Well, I remember at the beginning there, Craig was locked in that room back there for a while in the shed, and he couldn't get out. So they wouldn't let him out till we were finished. I know that. So.
All right, do we have anything else to come before the board today? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I will second.
All in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed. We are adjourned at 8:46.